Hey exobiologists, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is the finale of my Let's Play of In Other Waters. Last time we went down into this secret corporate lab at the bottom of the ocean and discovered a lot of interesting secrets. They are manipulating a species called the... were manipulating a species called the Artificers, which are apparently capable of reprogramming life for their own purposes or something, not entirely clear. They all seem to be dead now beneath the bloom, which is certainly interesting. And all we really have left to do now is explore the two other corporate sites we've just learned in the west in the west and east sides of the map. One of which is the source of the bloom. So without any further ado, we're pretty much going to head out. I don't expect this to take all that long. I think the biggest secrets were in that lab that we found at the bottom of the ocean, but there's definitely still some very interesting stuff to be found here. We're more than 90% done with the taxonomy, so... It only says that on the startup screen, like if you look at the save files, instead of anywhere actually in-game, so I just have to tell you guys that. Anyway, I know exactly where this is. We were there before. We just couldn't cut our way in, but we have a cutting torch now, so... we're just gonna beeline for it. Down here. Explored all this, right? Yeah. And yeah, before we could not cut through this seal, but now... perfect. Choked with rock and sand, the metal chamber is deathly still. The angular shapes of industrial machinery lie in wait. It looks, well, those holes might go down or up to other levels, but it looks smaller than the other one. Is this rapidly... it's not draining my oxygen, it's just real dark in here. The pillars which stretch up towards the cavernous roof of the chamber are warped and distorted, barely able to hold the weight. That sounds like I'm gonna die in a collapse, but okay. I imagine this was once a sealed tube stretching from floor to ceiling, but now it's just a round, ragged hole in the metal floor. Hulking machines built for industrial use sit covered in a fine layer of sand and growth. This was a place where people worked. Yeah, we can go down in the middle, but let me explore this level first. Okay, there's nothing up here. Went down. Half of the rock ceiling above the chamber seems to have come down at once, burying most of the room. Look, that tank. It's filled with microbial growth. What was this place? Be careful, the water will be just as toxic as it is above in the bloom. Ah, this dark hole in the floor is spewing out the same microbial clumps as seen in the bloom above. They settle around the vent in layers. Go down here or there. Here seems less fatal, so let's try here first, eh? Whether it was a control room or storage shed, this room's been totally crushed by the facility's collapse. Data log, though. M. Diaz. Sir, Dr. Hess has just arrived from Site 1. Send him through. Konstantin has full clearance. Oh, but Konstantin we know, or are fairly certain, is the one who caused the collapse, whatever it was. Whether he was rogue or it was on orders from higher-ups, but he's the one who broke all the corporation's operations here, so... apparently him arriving is a bad sign. Huge volumes of rock and sand must have smashed through the layers of facility, burying it and its occupants. This side of the vast tank has been corroded away, melted by the incredibly dense volume of microbes inside. See, that seems dangerous. The shell of some corroded maintenance vehicle is flooded with sand, its top a garden of microbial growth. Angular plates piled with sand are all that remains of the rooms and structures that divided up this level of the facility. Vehicle containers marked with now dull yellow biohazard tape. What were they shipping into this facility? I'm gonna hazard a guess that it's the microbe that made the bloom, eh? This is no lab. This is an industrial facility. These containers must have carried some vital resource for its operation. What? Okay, we can't go down there. We just gotta go down this pillar. Fine. Not like it's full of millions and millions of deadly microbes or anything. This shattered tank is dense with microbes. Thick green webs of growth stretch across the suit's visor, turning the lamplight acid green. These tank walls were breached with explosive force, the remains corroding away over the decades that followed that violent act. Plumes of green microbial froth pour from the breached tank. So these microbes have been local to this planet, or did Bakel bring them here? I'm thinking Bakel brought them here, to be honest. Oh, I did manage to click that one. How did this towering metal container split apart so violently? An accident or something more? I think the audio logs has made it pretty clear that it was not an accident. I'm pretty sure we have tons of these, but I'm going to grab one just to be sure. The tank stands in a huge hall, its pipes leading off into the dark. This facility was not built to study this planet, but to change it. Oh, were we trying to terraform using these and they just got screwed up? By Constantin, maybe? These wide pipes look to have been connected to the hall's tank. They must have controlled the outflow of whatever was produced here. These pipes, those tanks. This facility was outputting huge volumes of something into the planet's atmosphere. This has to have been a geoengineering project, a way of changing Gliese 667cc. But looking at this place, it suffered a total collapse. What went wrong? Well, Constantin blew it up, but we still don't know his motives. Maintenance on the South Hall is continuing. I'm seeing R. Ingram. I'm seeing a massive pressure spike here. Control? Well, I would guess that's when the tank burst and killed him, so. These banks of consoles must have controlled the operations within the tank. Now, the tank's contents have turned them to scrap. A tall passage between the two halls of the facility. This place must have been impressive when it was in full operation. The central tank has held back the sand and rock, but it leans unsettlingly forward into the hall. A fully sealed tank rises up through the center of the hall, its sheer sides streaked with growth from the southern tank. Oh, so we should probably... maybe we should do something to prevent that from collapsing, huh? Oh well. The connection between this console and the tank is sliced clean through. Is this what stopped it from breaching? Oh, somebody, yeah, probably. Somebody engaged in some big-time emergency measures after the south one blew up. A rising wall of sand leans heavily against the tank, burying tons of equipment and who knows what else beneath its slopes. A large access hatch to the floor above lies open, its ladder corroded into a twisted, rusty spine. User L. Youngs. Yes, sir. Atmospheric density is increasing ahead of schedule. Please inform the board. They will be pleased. So are we just trying to give this place a livable atmosphere? I know we have to go up there probably, but let me see if there's anything left. Were we just trying to give this planet a livable atmosphere initially? Or what's the deal there? Between the overhanging tank and the buckled, twisted walls, a clear corridor leads forward. Not that modifying the atmosphere of a planet with intelligent life on it is exactly what you'd call ethical. Crushed by the rockfalls, broken open containers reveal rich patches of microbial growth like miniature gardens. A row of corroded consoles wired up to an umbilical connection which has been cut away. A sand-dusted chair props up the remains of a suit, the faceplate clouded with rich green growth. User K. Helu. Control, I'm slicing it before it cascades. Clear the reactor chamber, the bacterial outflow's about to hit. I guess Helu's the one who prevented this from blowing up, but too late for everybody else. Or, well, the southern tank had already gone up, and apparently that was enough to destroy the facility anyway. Okay, there's an access hatch going up over there. Is there a possibility to go further down through that tank? I feel like maybe there was, but... Alright, let's check this out first. Ah, this is this room we couldn't get into before. Okay. The rows of sand-choked desks, rusted consoles, and dim monitors make it clear. This was the facility's control room. Preserved by the low flow of water inside the control room, the smoothed-out shapes of human bones are scattered across the floor. That's dark. Alright. Let's hear what they had to say. Here, this is where they controlled this place once. They were changing this planet, manipulating it. These vast tanks of engineered microbes were their tools. Algae changed the atmosphere of Earth billions of years ago. These creatures were meant to do the same. But by accident or sabotage, this containment was breached. These idiots! They could have killed every last species on this planet. Eaten up in a global bloom. Somehow the reef survived. Somehow the stalks held on, tried to revert our mistake. Humans don't deserve this planet. We didn't deserve to find life. I've seen enough. Scan what's left, and I'll take a look back at base. Let's find a way out of here. Yeah, I think it's been pretty clear that, I wonder if this detonation killed all the artificers, though. Because we found a ton of their skeletons around. Or maybe they sacrificed themselves in the process of modifying the reef to defend against this? See Hess. No. No. Oh god, the tank is breached. The artificers. I didn't mean... Does that mean he realizes that they're all gonna die and he regrets it? Maybe. F. Tar. Konstantin? What are you... Step away from the console. I'm sorry. Yeah, Konstantin definitely did this on purpose and by force. Which is what I always thought, but... The control room's evacuation hatch hangs open. Piles of rock and sand all around. Despite the cave-in, this console's surprisingly pristine. A cup sitting beside one of the monitors where it was placed decades before. B. Badejo. We're doing the artificers a favor. Despite all their abilities, they couldn't manifest this kind of planetary change. Oh, that's probably misguided, buddy. Okay, this is the way up and out. Right. Yeah. But hold on, I feel like... I'm probably wrong, actually, but let me check and see. I just want to be sure there's no way to go further down in that big microbe tank down there. Based on all we found, I'm thinking there probably wasn't, but I just want to be sure, because I don't remember. Don't want to miss anything, though. Especially as we haven't found anything that actually qualifies as, like, the bloom source sample. This vast tank's one of two that stretch the full height of the facility. Inside, the water is thick with... You can go further down, okay, see? Thick with microbial growth. Aha, the oldest and largest microbial colonies lie here. Great translucent green bubbles made from millions upon millions of microbes. The lamps, the old growth. This is where the bloom began. This is no native microbe, it's lab-grown, built to convert light into power. Yeah, we just, okay. Ran out of oxygen there. I grabbed the sample before we ran out of oxygen, though, but we're gonna have to come back anyway. So we can see what was in the exit thing, if nothing else. I wonder if there's any purpose to toasting, like... Toasting. If I collect nesting weavers on the way, you think they can actually have a chance of clearing that? Or, they'll just get overwhelmed and die immediately? Worth a shot, I guess. I know it took a different turn. I'm trying to grab these nesting weavers on the way in. Do have the bloom source, a huge colony sampled from Site 2 beneath the bloom. 80% bacterial, 50% colony. So that's what we needed for the taxonomy purposes, but first of all I want to see if that dialogue will recur if I go down there again, because we didn't really finish it. And then I want to go into the exit thing that's over here. And then that should be it for this facility, I think. This is as far down as we can go. What happens if I drop these? They work? Wow, they actually do. That's impressive. Okay. Yeah. Great translucent green bubbles made from millions upon millions of microbes. I guess the dialogue's not going to recur, sadly, so... The base of the tank is thick with growth. It's hard to see anything in this haze of green. Gleaming in the green, these vast reflector lamps sit at the back of the tank, base of the tank. They must have lined the walls of the container, beaming in light. And there's just tons and tons and tons of bloom froth down here. Alright, up we go then. I wonder if it'd be possible for us to... I mean, I know in-game we can't, but, like... Theoretically, you think we could fix this? Probably, but then it might be one of those things, like... where we'd better just leave it well enough alone. We've done enough damage already. Okay, so then out this way. This is why no one escaped the facility. This tunnel is sealed. The control room's escape route cut off. Well, good thing we've got this cutting torch then. Perfect. Sealed at both ends, this corridor is pristinely preserved. The Bakel decals still visible on the gleaming walls. A second seal locks off the corridor at the other end. They made sure no one would escape. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on what Constantine's motives were. Like, was he under orders, or did he just go rogue because he hated the projects they were doing? The tunnel leads out onto a small shelf overlooking a rift, discreetly cut into the rock. Back in the open water, the current at this end of the rift softly pushes against the suit. Above, the steep rift wall meets the shelf of the bloom. To the north, green clouds rise up, the familiar sight of the bloom that surrounds this shelf and the facility below it. Like, are we above the bloom, in a sense? No, it's just right there, I guess. Behind the pillars, the reef's strong currents are lessened, making a small, sheltered stretch of water on this side of the rift. Is this just the rift? We've been here before, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, back home we go then. That's the western facility, I believe. Back online? Good. I've been working with the data we extracted from the facility. What they did there, it's terrible. They could have wiped out life on this planet. Bakel should have known better than to mess with the entire planet's ecosystem. Yeah, they probably should have. The failure of the facility was catastrophic. The bloom dominated half of the planet. Dang. As far as I can tell, it wiped out the artificers. Think about those skeletons in the bloom. Yeah, I was wondering. I figured it did. But the rest of the planetary ecosystem reacted somehow. Resisted. Pushed the bloom back. I don't understand how life could have adapted to the changing conditions so quickly, though. It's as if they evolved to meet the challenges of the bloom in mere decades. Impossible. Let's keep looking. There's another facility to investigate out to the east. There has to be more to this. Well, I would say the artificers did it. Except, to be fair, they all died, apparently, in the bloom, or we certainly haven't seen any. They could just be they could be alive and just really weary of humans now, but oh wait, I didn't sample. I didn't. We gotta go back. We gotta analyze the bloom source sample still. It could be they're just much more weary of humans than they were, and they're avoiding us now. Or it could be that they basically sacrificed themselves in the process of engineering all the other life to resist the bloom. It does seem like this reef that we're started in, it's basically engineered in such a way as to fight the bloom, essentially. Now we have the bloom source. Analyzing. Cyanophyta, Ventricaria vaspilis, the bloom froth. The discovery of bloom froth colonies in Site 2 suggests that the bloom microbes are laboratory-adapted cyanobacteria, developed for power generation and terraforming. Bakel's original intention may have been to oxygenate the atmosphere of Gliese 667 cc, thickening the atmosphere to offset atmospheric warming due to its tidally locked orbit. But when their terraforming site was breached and this species reached the open water, they visited a massive ecological disaster on this planet. How'd the planet survive? This aggressive species should have turned this ocean green, flooding it with neurotoxins. Such an adaptive, aggressive, genetically modified species is outlawed by every biological sanction we have. I'm preserving these samples as evidence of their crimes. One day, Bakel will pay for this. Well, okay. That might explain why once this was breached, Bakel just pulled out and ignored the place forever out thereafter. If A, the planet was completely wrecked by this bloom froth that they released, and B, the whole planet was basically a gigantic piece of evidence for a crime they'd committed. So they figured they'd better just cover it up and ignore its existence. On the other hand, it doesn't suggest that I don't think that they did it intentionally, at least prior to the release of the bloom. I think this Constantin might have just gone rogue and sacrificed, blown everything up just to ensure, they didn't do whatever they were planning to do with the artificers, basically.